Hi everyone, I am Tina Holland and I'm a program specialist with Washoe County School District's 21st Century Learning Division, and we're located in Reno, Nevada. Before working for the district's 21st Century Learning Division, I taught 8th grade physical science for 15 years at Sparks Middle School, and I want to thank you today for joining my webinar. And hopefully this webinar will prove to be useful and informational for you as a science teacher. So what are you going to get by watching this webinar? Well, you will hopefully get a clear understanding of the architecture of the next generation science standards. Hopefully you will get a better understanding of how to read them and especially how to use them in your classroom. And then we're going to take a look at some strategies and tools to help you create amazing 21st century science lessons. And best of all, you're going to have access to tons and tons of curated science websites, apps, articles, interactive activities, games, simulations, and video resources. And all of those you will get access through the live binder and our Pinterest board that we have for this webinar. So I want to start the webinar by talking about the next generation science standards. I feel that as a science teacher, it's very important to understand what has changed and what's different about them and the shifts that have taken place, and also how to use them in your classroom. So I really feel compelled to go over them. And one thing that's super neat about the next generation science standards as well as the Common Core is they fully support 21st century learning, and that the focus of them it's placed on the student understanding rather than memorizing just a bunch of science facts. And so those days of read chapter 2, do the review questions, or listen to my hour lecture and take notes really are over, or at least they should be over. So I'm sure you're asking, okay, well, what is the big deal about NGSS? So we're going to go ahead and take a look and see what that big deal is of NGSS. And again, I want to go ahead and focus on the big differences in what's new. And one of the big differences is that there are huge conceptual shifts that that took place, that they're intended to reflect really the new vision that we have here for American science education. And I want to go ahead and go over those shifts. So the first shift is the interconnected nature of science and the real world. And student performance expectations, they really have to include a student's ability to not regurgitate a bunch of facts, but really to apply and practice what they've learned in science. And the new performance expectations now, again, they focus on understanding and application as opposed to just memorization. The next shift that has taken place is focus and coherence. And you know, if you've been teaching for a while, you know that historically, and even if you haven't been teaching a while, even as a student when you're a kid growing up in school, and you go into your science class, and you know that historically science has been taught as just a bunch of disjointed and isolated facts, just a bunch of stuff that we have to memorize, you know, like, oh, okay, we're doing cells today, and then next week we're looking at the periodic table. Now with the NGSS, the same ideas or the same details are not covered each year. Instead, there is a progression of knowledge that goes from grade to grade. And this is a really important shift, in that this shift gives students a better opportunity to learn more complex material and to master the material, learn that material in depth. The next shift is a deeper understanding, and as I was saying, learning the material in depth. So no longer is it just cram, jam the content, shovel the content down the student's throat, saying, okay, yay, we covered that content, you know, move on, next. We can slow down now. And the NGSS, it's good news. As science teachers and teaching science, we can slow down and we can focus on the core ideas and not necessarily focus on just the facts that are associated with those ideas. Now, don't get me wrong, I mean, it is true that the facts and details are important, but it is no longer the sole focus of science instruction. And the next shift is a shift where we have added in science and engineering practices. So now the engineering and technology component are interwoven into the actual structure of science education. The core ideas of engineering and technology are given the same status as those that are in other science areas. And then the next shift that we have is college, career, and citizenship readiness. And I really believe that it is more important than ever in our science education that science is central to in that education, because science is everywhere in our lives now. I mean, if you really think about it, never ever before has our world been so complex. And never has it been more important to have science knowledge, to be able to critically think about things, make sense of things. You know, like for example, let's say just even understanding current events that are going around on the world, or going out and choosing and using technology, or how about even making an informed decision about your health care. Yeah, science is the bottom line. Understanding that science is key. And then also, um, the shift of college, career, and citizenship readiness. One of the main reasons for the NGSS is that science is really at the heart of the United States ability to compete in the world. If we are going to continue to innovate and lead and create the jobs of the future, the bottom line is that all students, no matter what career path they take or what their future education looks like, they need to have a solid science education in order to be prepared for college, or be prepared for their career, or even just be prepared as a citizen to make good decisions. And then the last big conceptual shift that has taken place in comparison to what we had is alignment to the Common Core. And I'm going to dive deeper into this alignment, because actually this is one of the coolest shifts that has taken place, in that the NGSS is aligned to the math and ELA Common Core, and they overlap in many important and meaningful ways. So let's go ahead and take a look at that alignment. So here we have the practices, or the main practices in different disciplines. And you can see here we have the main practices in math, science, and English. And these actually overlap. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of time here so you can take a closer look. I know it's cut off a little bit on the bottom, but you can take a closer look at these practices here. So I'll give you a little bit of time. Okay, so here is the bottom line connections that math, science, and ELA all have in common. And you could see they are matching in their color codes as it was in the image, but really, so here they have in common modeling, analyzing data, use of appropriate tools, and especially that constructing viable arguments from evidence. Well, in order to learn how to do all these things, you know, the only way that students are going to be able to do this is really primarily through talk. Through talk, joint attention, shared activities, in other words, through collaboration, through knowledge construction, through real world problem solving and innovation, using technology for learning, self-regulation, and skill communication. And those things that I just said, that's how students are going to learn these things that we have here, these connections we have here. These happen to be the 6 dimensions of 21st century learning that here at Washoe County School District that we base our learning framework on. And let me go ahead and show you that. And so these are our 21st century competencies, and here are our dimensions, and here we go. Collaboration, knowledge construction, real-world problem solving and innovation, use of technology for learning, self-regulation, and skill communication. And these 21st century skills are what will bring the practices of math, science, and ELA together. And so it fits so nicely together. And here's a Venn diagram, a little better visual of what they have in common. And you can see the big one, again, is that constructing viable arguments and critique reasoning of others, value evidence, engage in argument from evidence. And so again, talk, 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 collaborating, working together. Okay, so let's do a quick overview of the actual architecture of the next generation science standards. It's really neat how they built the standards, and so I feel that it's very important to understand how it's built so we can read them. And first of all, the NGSS are built on the K-12 framework, and as you can see, this framework consists of three foundational core areas. We have 8 science and engineering practices, we have 7 cross-cutting concepts, and we have 44 disciplinary core ideas, which is the content area. The first dimension of the NGSS framework is called Science and Engineering Practices. And there are 8 of them. As you can see, they look very, very similar to the scientific method that we are all so used to. And these are essential for all students to be able to do in order to really learn science and engineering. These practices are not teaching methods or curriculum. This is not about just teaching the scientific method in an isolated unit and then, okay, check, yay, that standard's done, move on. These practices really should be interwoven into your curriculum, and they're considered as one of the core foundations of the NGSS. And one thing that is really cool is that you could see that these 8 practices intentionally overlap each other. And because of that, it makes it really easy to incorporate these into your curriculum. For example, the practice of asking questions may lead to modeling or planning and carrying out an investigation, which again may turn to analyzing and interpreting data. And then here we have the second dimension is 44 disciplinary core ideas that are grouped into 4 domains. And we have the life science part, earth and space science, physical science, and then again we've added that engineering and technology component. And then the third dimension that we have are cross-cutting concepts. And you could see these cross-cutting concepts that they really kind of act as a bridge, and they connect all of the science core ideas together. And go ahead and read those: patterns, cause and effect, mechanism and explanation, scale, systems, energy, structure, stability, and so forth. So really, I suppose the reason why they call them cross-cutting concepts is that they literally cross-cut through the standards, and this is where the connections are made. And so we end up with 3 dimensions, and the 3 dimensions make up a foundation box. And so here we have practices, disciplinary core ideas, and the cross-cutting concepts. And they are all put together into one core box that looks like this. On top of the core box, we have what's called performance expectations. And the performance expectations are super cool in that they were written to communicate the big idea of the standard. So again, as teachers, trying to come up with, okay, what is the big idea? What can I come up with this as an essential question? Well, it's done for you, and it's right here. And they basically took the content from the practice, the core idea, and then the cross-cutting concepts, and they put it into a single statement. And this single statement tells us what our students should be able to do after instruction. So you can kind of look at the performance expectations as a thing students should be able to do to be proficient in science. And then at the bottom of the foundation box, we have what are called 3 connection boxes. And these 3 connection boxes were designed to create coherency of the standards. The connection boxes tell us how the performance expectations in each of the standard connects to other science content areas as well as to the Common Core standards. And you can see here it says connection to other DCIs, articulation of DCIs across grade levels, and then Common Core state standard connections. And so once again, the guesswork is taken out of it. The NGSS tells you everything that you need to successfully create instruction and build lessons in your classroom. Okay, and there you have it, a real live next generation science standard. So once again, to review, on top we have the performance expectation, and again this is what should be assessed and what the student should be able to do after a lesson. Then we have the 3 foundation boxes, science and engineering practices, disciplinary core ideas, and cross-cutting concepts. Then all of this is anchored by a connection box, and that connection box shows the connections to other science standards as well as connections to ELA and math Common Core standards. Now, I mean, as a science teacher, I just love this. I love the NGSS. Again, it just takes all the guesswork out of what I need to do to make sure my students are getting a good science education. And plus, there's no more guessing on how I can make science connections to ELA and math Common Core. I know that as science teachers, they did all that work on the math and ELA Common Core. And then as science teachers, we just kind of felt we were just out there, an outlier. And now here you go. We have those connections right there in front of us, and make it very easy. So super cool. Love it. I came across this analogy by NSTA, and it's a really great analogy, and it's an analogy to cooking, and I think it kind of helps clarify the NGSS. So here we have kitchen tools and techniques, and those would represent the practices in the NGSS. And then we have our raw or basic ingredients, and this would represent a core idea. And then over here we have the herbs, spices, and seasonings, and those would be the cross-cutting concepts. And the final prepared meal, of course, which is our goal for putting all these together, would be the chicken. And so I love this analogy. I thought it was an easy analogy to understand. Okay, so let's go ahead and explore the NGSS. And I'm giving you a link to a user-friendly NGSS Interactive. And I want you to just to mess around with it, just explore it, take a look, maybe think about where you are in your classroom with whatever science topic or unit you're in, and just take a look. And so it looks like this, and you can see that we have all these links here, and you can pretty much get to anything that you want to get to. Very, very cool interactive. And then here we have actual PDFs, and these are worth reading. In fact, if you look at the grade level of these, I really recommend that you click on the grade level that you teach and just take a look at them. Very informative. All right, so I will see you in a little bit. Okay, I'm sure after all that you're asking yourself, what can I do in my classroom to get my students ready for science in the 21st century? And uh, and if you're anything like me, you know that you go on the internet and there are just literally thousands upon thousands of science resources out there. I know I would go and search for videos or simulations or start searching for resources for a particular unit, and then I would just get so caught up in all the information that was out there, and it was hard just to pick one, and then I would pick one and feel guilty because I knew there was probably 20 more that I could have done instead. And I really recommend don't do that. Don't go on info overwhelm. Have boundaries for yourself when you're picking resources. Pick one or two, or pick just a couple that you just think, oh, okay, these are just awesome, and give them a fair run in your classroom and see how they work for you, or have boundaries. Say, okay, I'm only going to try one new resource a month or a week or a semester, or whatever works for you. But there's literally thousands and thousands out there, and just don't go into Infowhelm. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started on some of these resources that we have. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some websites that I think are completely amazing. And the first website is right here. And it's by the Concord Consortium. It says, find your path through the NGSS. And I thought this was just the neatest thing. So let's say here's your core idea. And let's say I'm teaching something with life science or biology. And then it says right here, now select a practice and a cross-cutting concept. And so maybe I want to do some analyzing data. And so I click on analyzing data, and you could see that we have a connection that was made here with this interactive tool. And or maybe I also want to add in conducting investigations. So those are my practices up here. Then it says select at least one cross-cutting concept. And maybe I want something with patterns. And so there you go. Did you guys see that activity pop up? And this is so neat because what it does is it gives you suggestions on activities that you can do. And I did look at this website, and from what I can see, the activities are available for free. I think if you created an account and a class, you have access to these activities. But even if you didn't want to use their activity, it just a suggestion of it. You can think, oh, okay, yeah, I can do an activity like that, and you can make your own activity. So I thought this was just the coolest tool, especially in light of trying to put together lessons for the NGSS and how it makes the connections there for you. And another just fabulous website. I love this website. No matter what content area you teach, this is a great website, and that is PBS Learning Media. And it's just kind of a one-stop shop website. You could see I can browse by grade and subject. Let's say I teach 6th grade, and I, of course, going to do something in science here. And then I click here. And we have all kinds of things. So let's see, maybe I want to click on this one here. And you could see that they have a video to go along with it. And here we have support materials right here. Look at all that. Educational standards that it meets. And then what's really neat about PBS Learning Media is again, it's free, and you can download these activities straight if you want to. So that you have access to them. They also have, once you sign up, they also have kind of like a locker that you can use, and you can store your activities as well. So again, super cool one-stop shop site. Another wonderful site, and again, this is free, is called Sponge Lab. And in fact, I'm going to have you watch just like a 30-second little trailer video about it. But you can see they offer all kinds of things here. They have game-based learning, digital learning, science content, teaching tools, just all kinds of things there, especially that game-based learning is is really important again with today's student, and it's all free. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some time here to take a look at these websites and explore, and then you're going to answer the question on Edpuzzle and come back over here to the webinar. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue looking at some more amazing websites. And here's Science Kids. Science Kids is, again, one of those one-stop shop websites, and you can see that they have all kinds of things listed there, and experiments, games, and it says fun science and technology for kids. Projects, lessons, anything that you could want they have here, and just interactive stuff. It's colorful, it's exciting, and it's a great website. And I pulled up a page here. This is what, if when I clicked on the third grade, um, looked like. They had some practice stuff here, and it went out to math and language arts. Our next website is Neo K-12. I've used this website for a very long time in my classroom, and I had clicked on Adams. Let me go ahead and go to the home page. You can see that they have just all kinds of content area topics there, all kinds of core ideas listed, and tons and tons of resources. So let me bring up forces, and here you can see they have their resources separated by videos, quizzes, games, interactions. And what's really cool about this website is these videos are actually YouTube videos, but they have curated the videos for you, and they have come up with a collection for you. I know I would just spend hours and hours on YouTube trying to find the perfect video or trying to locate videos to help clarify or teach a concept, and this way it'll save time because it's already done here for you. I do know that I believe that the website, most of the things on the website are free. I do know that they also have a kind of like an upgraded version as well, where you get full access to things. And this next website here, don't think that it's just for physical science. I had come across this website quite a while ago, and I'm very pleased to see how it has just grown and expanded. But paper roller coasters, or I should say roller coasters, the concepts behind roller coaster construction and are just huge. And it covers so many content core ideas in bringing roller coasters into your classroom and having students build their own roller coaster. But there was always a limit on it because the materials you would need to build the roller coasters took up a lot of room and they were expensive. Well, here, this guy came up with a brilliant idea, and that is he basically made templates of the parts to a roller coaster that you can download the template in a PDF and you can print them off. And you could see right here in this picture, he's holding a curve. And so you cut out these templates from the paper and then you put them together, and you can create a roller coaster. And what's neat is if you need more parts or pieces, you just go print out more. And here's a picture. Here's an example of a roller coaster that someone created using this template. And I am going to have you watch this movie right here, the Wrap Me movie. Just very inspiring and motivating information. They have a summer program at Virginia State University for minority students, and it's just neat how they bring in the paper roller coasters to help teach concepts and where they've gone with these students. And so it is a video that I do want you to go ahead and review and take a look at. All right, so I'll give you a little bit of time to review those websites and watch that video, and then we will come on back and continue. Okay, video resources. Video resources, I really feel that playing short clips of videos or short videos in the classroom are very, very important. They help clarify concepts. They'll grab interest, they grab attention. Also, there's a lot of things that you can't do in the classroom that you can bring a video in. And videos can be very, very powerful. And I know, I remember going to school, and how many times would you just sit down and watch this full hour-long video on some particular science concept? And I don't really feel videos should be used that way. I think that videos should be used in an interactive way, and they should just be like short interactive videos. And in fact, just to kind of let you know, the tool that you're using right now with Edpuzzle is an amazing tool in that you can turn any video into making it interactive. And so this way you can help clarify concepts and have the students not be bystanders in just watching a video, but really check for understanding using this tool, and that is Edpuzzle. So let's take a look at some of these video resources. And here we have Steve Spangler Science. And again, he has a one-stop shop. Not only does he have wonderful videos, but he has all kinds of things. He has lesson plans. And I know that if you sign up, it is free. So if you sign up, I do know you have access to tons and tons of materials. And he has really cool little science experiment videos in here. And I would use his videos all the time. You could see that there's just, it says load more. I mean, there's just probably hundreds and hundreds of them. And a wonderful resource just to find that perfect video that you're looking for. This right here is called TestTube. And I do have to say that TestTube is probably geared towards the older student. And I if you want to use it in elementary, you definitely need to make sure you filter the video, take a look at it, and just see if it's appropriate. But it's really neat in that they're videos that aren't patronizing, I should say, to the older student, and they deal with some really unique topics, and their videos are done exciting and fast and really appeal to that older student. So you can see some of the topics right there, and pretty unique. And then another video resource is YouTube channels, and I particularly love this channel. This is called the Amoeba Sisters, and two ladies that get together and they make biology videos, and these videos are great. They're entertaining, they're funny, they're cute, and they really help clarify concepts. But I don't specifically am saying, okay, just this channel, but I do encourage you. One thing about YouTube is just packed full of science content, and I really encourage you to find some channels on YouTube that are just amazing channels, and one of them is the Amoeba Sisters. Another really, really cool channel, it's called Bozeman Science, and in fact, he has a whole series on the NGSS. So once again, I'm going to give you some time to play and take a look at those video resources, and then you're going to come back and using Edpuzzle, you're going to tell me what you discovered. All right, games and simulation websites. Gamification in the classroom is really sweeping across education now, and I've just seen some amazing things done in the classroom with games, and I'm sure all of you have heard of Minecraft. If you want to gamify your classroom, I have just seen teachers do amazing, amazing things using Minecraft. For example, a fourth grade teacher had students design a museum, and the museum was about electricity and electric circuits, and the kids, they had to design a room that talked about the history of electricity, another room that was parallel circuits, another one that was series circuits. And you can imagine the kids using this game and then building not only the concept of this game, but then building something and having to do the research in order to, for example, create a museum. And that is a really powerful learning tool. And so gaming, I highly encourage you to look into gamifying your classroom. In fact, one of the webinars that I do is gamification of education. And there's all kinds of materials out there online to bring in games into the classroom, to bring simulations. Um, One thing with students is when you get them on a game or they're in a simulation and they're completely interacting with the concept, it just the learning just goes through the roof. And so let's go ahead and take a look at a few gaming websites that I found that I thought were pretty cool. This right here is Dr. Fly's review, and it isn't a game website in itself, but basically he has spent quite a lot of time going through the internet and locating games and simulations for various topics. You can see up here he has them separated by the different disciplines in science. And and from what I saw, for example, I had clicked on this zombie plague one, and it took me to another website, and then within that website I could locate this game and I could download it in order to play it. And so so this is a great website just as a stepping point into finding other games and simulations. And then we have Explorements. Explorements has an app that you can download that goes along with their website. And they also have a YouTube channel. And Explorements, it's just breathtaking to tell you the truth. The things that they have here on Explorements, and very, very visual, colorful, interactive, just wonderful simulations. And again, during your playtime, I really encourage you to take a look at it and play these little snippets that they have here, talking about the different areas of why explorements are just an amazing, amazing tool. And then the next simulation, game simulation website that I wanted to show you was PhET Labs. And I have used PhET Labs for years in my classroom. And if you want a simulation about something, I guarantee PhET Labs has it. And I have seen this website just grow in amazing ways. They also have an app that you can download. And PhET Labs, it's so cool because there are so many concepts that are difficult for students to understand, especially in the physics core area. And this, with these simulations, the kids can interact with the simulations, and it just opens up those concepts, and the kids just love this. And there's all kinds of activities that you can do with these simulations. And so again, I highly recommend you bookmark this and take a look at those simulations and then use them in your classroom. All right, so once again, time to play and time to check out the game websites, and then I'll see you in just a little bit. Okay, I realize that not everyone has iPads or smart devices in their classroom, but I feel especially with 21st century learning, it is important as a science teacher to have at least one device in your classroom that you can download apps onto. If you look at the App Store in either Google Play, you know, for Android devices, or for iTunes for Apple devices, the apps are just overflowing with science apps and science contents. And to tell you the truth, most of them are free. And even the light versions they have of stuff are just so cool and so interactive. Um, if you only have one device in your classroom, I suggest that you make that device as a center in your classroom. And in fact, science really should be taught in centers or stations. You know, it should really be in a blended learning type situation. You can have the iPad or whatever the device is as one station. You can have the active board as another station. You can have you as a teacher as another station. But if you only have one device, setting up stations in your classroom is the way to do it. And so here, I could literally probably be here for the next 20 years going through science apps. And so what I did is I just picked out a couple websites that has a whole bunch of apps on it, and you could take a look at those. Here are 60 apps to teach STEAM in the classroom, and instead of STEM, it's STEAM. They have that art component in there. And I really like this website because it's separated by grade level, which is very important. And then I have another website here, and she's a high school teacher, so probably these apps here are geared a little bit more towards the older student. And you can see here's that PhET interactive science simulation app that I was telling you about. And then on our Pinterest board, I have several more of these of links that lead to a whole bunch of other apps. And so there's tons and tons of apps there. Don't go on Infowhelm, but definitely know that they're available and that they're out there, and be familiar with what is out there. And so again, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to check out the apps. Okay. So in this webinar, we have looked at the NGSS. We have looked at several resources of one-stop shop websites, video resources, games and simulation resources, a whole bunch of apps. So as a science teacher, I want to do a good job. I want to put together an engaging, fun, 21st century lesson for my students. How do I do that? And in my opinion, there's no doubt that that science really should be taught with an inquiry approach. And so I feel that the 5E model, and this is just one strategy, is a awesome model to use to put together good science lessons. The 5E model is an inquiry-based learning cycle, and as you can see here, it has 5 stages to it. The engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. And if you get familiar with what should be done in each of these stages, and you follow this model, you can, by the time you're done, you're going to step back and you are going to have one awesome 21st century learning science lesson, especially utilizing all the resources that we just took a look at. And so I'm going to have you click on the link for the video. There's a video where the gal does a great job explaining what the 5E model is and how to use it. And so go ahead and watch the YouTube video and then come on back. All right. Thank you so much for joining me in 21st Century Learning and Science. I hope you learned some new things. And remember, I love this quote, one of my favorite quotes, and that is, learning science is something that students do, not something that is done to them. I wanted to also remind you that you have access to a plethora of resources on our Pinterest board here, and I'll show you our Pinterest board, and you could see all that stuff, and things are being added to it. I think at some point I probably should stop adding to it so I don't go on Infowhelm, but here's our Pinterest board. And then also there is a NGSS live binder that I created, and here, teacher resources, I highlighted the 5E learning model. There's a NGSS design template, which is really neat here. Love templates. How to identify big ideas, templates to generate big ideas, all kinds of information. And I have all kinds of information broken down for the NGSS webinars. Again, thousands and thousands of resources. And then in this live binder, I also have a live binder made for each of the different grade levels. And here we have elementary, and then you click over here, and here's lesson building sites. You can see there's just tons of them. Interactive websites, and so forth. And then the same thing goes for middle school. and then also the high school live binder. And these live binders and the Pinterest board are being updated and changed all the time. So keep checking back. I really recommend that you bookmark both of them. They are housed on our website, and so you do have access to them there. But still, I would bookmark them and check back. And once again, do not go on InfoWell. Do not feel like, okay, I got to do it all. Just pick one or two tools that you're going to say, okay, I'm going to use that. Use this tool this month, and then go from there. Okay, and once again, thank you so much for joining me in this webinar, and I hope that you were able to learn some new things and pull some good information out of it. And here we have a disclaimer that I need you to read, and then you just basically need to indicate that, yeah, you read it. All right, have a good year.